Hi, welcome everybody. Um, my name is Izzy Ramos. I'm 23 years old, a three-time college dropout, but I do have my Associates of Art. I've gone for English, accounting, and English, secondary English education, so clearly I'm well versed in a lot. Um, I have a bunch of things that I want to talk about today, but just thank you for taking the time to click and to listen. Um, so I'll be referring to that and hopefully get a 10-minute episode out of this just to get started. But this is commonplace. This is my podcast. I started it because I wanted a creative outlet and I feel like I have things to talk about. And I enjoy talking and interviewing and having conversations, which is what we'll be doing in the future. And I chose the name because commonplace is ordinary. It's like something that kind of everybody knows. It's familiarity, and I just really liked it. And there's a song lyric that goes with it. It's not anything deep. It's from Hamilton. It's just I like the way that Aaron Burr says it, and I just knew that I wanted to talk about my everyday, ordinary life. I don't have anything special to offer except for normalness, almost. I don't know. Um, but so I just planned to bring my everyday life into this, so I thought it fit well. And my friends, my coworkers, my family, anyone will be on the show. Um, I love interviewing. I love conversations. I want to be able to share this with anybody who's willing to listen and who wants to be a part of it. I love having these deeper conversations, and I feel like having a podcast definitely like puts me in a position to be able to ask those questions. So I'm excited about that. Um, and so I guess I'll just tell you a little bit more about myself. Like I said, I'm 23 years old, a three-time college dropout, but um, I don't regret it. I love learning. I have had a lot of trials going into college. I got diagnosed with ADHD late in life. Late in life, I was 21, 22 years old. Um, so I didn't fully know. Like, obviously, I thought I was doing great, and then I couldn't succeed, and I thought it was because of depression and anxiety, and it turns out I had other barriers. So I'm working through it, and I'm trying to get better. But I also don't feel like having a bachelor's degree is something that's necessary for me in my life right now, and I believe 100% that that's okay. In the position that I work with, I wouldn't even be getting a degree in what I do. I do finance and HR for a local nonprofit, so and volunteer work and youth advocacy, just a whole bunch of things. Because when you work in the nonprofit work, you do a little bit of everything. But yeah, everything that I was going in for, like I said, English, secondary English education, accounting, like, yeah, an accounting major would be great, but I am not a math person at all. And I was trying to self teach online, and that was just awful. Like, I feel absolutely awful for everybody who was forced into taking online learning these past couple of years because it is something that it's super understimulating. Having to hold myself accountable in those areas is just not for me, family. So um, I I wouldn't say gave up, but I am just putting it off. I don't need it for a while. I already have a degree, even if it's a small one. I still got it. Um, so I have a list of things. I have like written down my favorite color. My favorite color is gray. And every time I say that, somebody will always be like, it's a shade. So if I'm not allowed to pick a shade, then I pick like green or blue or something cool toned. I like surrounding myself in cool toned things. Like I have an iPhone 13 and it's green and I love it. I was super stoked when it came out. My interests, like I said, I love learning. I love discussing deep things. I love reading. I love writing. I love drawing, which I haven't done in a long time. Um, when I was in high school, I was ambidextrous in painting. Don't think I could do that anymore, but I could at one point. I enjoy anything like creative and artistic. It really appeals to me. Spontaneously dyeing my hair is also on the list, apparently. Um, so that includes my hobbies. I also like love listening to musicals and singing along and learning about everything I can about that musical. Like Hamilton, when I refused to listen to it for a long time because I like the visual aid. and then it came out, and so I watched it and listened to it. I actually listened to it before because my friend made me, and it changed my life. I'm absolutely obsessed with it. I got to see it in Omaha last year, November, and it was just super fun. And like, I just love like the history that goes into it, even though it's not the most accurate. But anything dramatized like that, it's not going to be accurate. So, but it's just fun. And Lin Manuel Miranda is just so talented in so many different ways, and he's such a huge advocate for minorities. And he listens and like, even like like he could be doing so much. Like I saw an interview with him. He was on the oh, I don't remember what Trevor Noah's show is called, but Trevor Noah was interviewing him, and Trevor Noah's like, he's already doing all these great things. Like, how dare you talk to him like that? And Lynn was like, no, like, I can still do more. I can still represent the Afro Latino Latinx community. Like, I can still do more. Like, it's enough, yes, but I can still do more. And I just love that mentality. And he brought that into Hamilton. He's brought that into everything that he's done. And I just really look up to that. And the same thing with like Les Mis. Like, that was a musical that just kind of like, it's just so emotional, and like there's some repetitiveness of it too, but at the same time, like it just connects. Like, I'm sure you guys don't want to hear me talk about musicals, but I do want to say this before I move on from it. Like, so when Jean Valjean, so I actually have a tattoo of his prison number, because like when he like releases that, like he releases it from his probation, like it's this whole melody that he's singing, and he's changing his identity. And then later, spoiler alert, Javert, the police officer, law enforcer person who's been chasing him his entire life at this point, like his entire probation, like comes to realize that just because you've broken the law doesn't make you a bad person. Well, that was his identity, so he kills himself, and it's under the same melody, and there's like parallels in the words, and like I do believe that it was fully thought out, despite how long it is. You'd think that it would just be like a lack of creativity, but like the way that the parallels go is just so interesting, and I love diving into those things, and I love learning about that. Like Heather's is just a fun one to listen to, though. Like, you don't really get to go into the deep psychological issues that is JD and Veronica's relationship, or just like the hierarchy of high school. Like, it's just fun. Same thing with Mean Girls musical. I was anti it. Like, I was like, this isn't going to be good. And then I've listened to it and I'm like, oh, it's fun. It's great. And I love like just being able to have fun. And there's a story with the music, but at the same time, I just love music. And like, I really love like pop rock. I've been super nostalgic over stuff that I used to listen to. Panic at the Disco, of course. Falling in Reverse, which if I don't listen to the words, it's usually okay, but it's not exactly great stuff. He's super misogynistic, super toxic, but sometimes you just like to indulge in that just a little bit. So I've been super into like that rocky punk rock, pop punk era stuff right now, but I will listen to anything. I love I think my favorite song for the past year has been Line Without a Hook by Ricky Montgomery. Like, it's just this like emotional ballad that like he's praying to somebody. Like, I'm off on my own, and I just really enjoy that. The same thing, like, one thing I really wish I didn't like Glimpse of Us by Joji. I really wish I didn't, because it's so toxic, but that's just one thing that like if I got into a relationship with somebody like that, like I would be miserable. But he like it's such a connecting thing. That's why a lot of people are like attracted to it, is because people connect to that feeling. And he's got it. And like it's just so bad. Like I like you look at that and you're like, how could you ever do that to somebody? But at the same time, how could you not? But I don't know, I've only been in one relationship my entire life. I guess I forgot to say this when I was introducing myself. I've been married for the past 3 years. I got married right at the beginning of 2020 before the pandemic started. So in January, so going on 3 years. I've been with my husband for 8 years. um, Maybe like 50,000. I don't know. It feels like a long time. We've been together for a long time, and we've gone through a lot together. So I will definitely have him on the podcast, because we can talk about so many things, and he'll be awkward and it'll be funny. So don't worry. um, but like I've only been with one person, so like I can't fully resonate with that. But but I know a lot of people do. And but like it oh my gosh, it like hurts in such a good way. Like it's like, oh man, like that's it's just so good. And I will continue to listen to it over and over again. I love sad songs. One thing about me is I love breakup songs, and my husband loves cheating songs, which we call our toxic traits, but let's be real, it's definitely worse than that. Not the music taste, but our toxic traits are not our music interests. Um, but so it's always so funny. Like one of his favorite songs is "Unfaithful" by Rihanna. I'm like, why? Why? But he loves it. He's so funny when he sings it. So, um, I like we like to just sing and be goofy and like listen to music. Like one thing that I really like to do with my friends, even if one of them doesn't love it, is I will put on "Sour" by Olivia Rodrigo and lay in the middle of my living room, and we will just like sardines. Like there's enough space for us to not be touching each other, but we make sure that we do, and then we just listen. Um, One of my friends absolutely hates Olivia Rodrigo, so that's what kind of just makes it funny and makes it great. And it's just been fun. I stand Olivia Rodrigo. I mean, granted, I haven't followed up with her in recent since Sour, but I love what like she like. I just love that she's 17 and she acts like well she's 18 now and she acts like an 18-year-old. Like her problems are 18-year-old problems, and I just really appreciate that. Um, so moving on from music, since I don't want this to go on forever, just because it is a test, and just a trying to for me to get comfortable with this and be able to edit this is books. I love reading. I don't think know if I talked about that at all. I love reading. Am I'm starting Where the Crawdads Sing. My friend Courtney recommended it to me, and I need to finish it, but I've been overwhelmed with so many other things. But it's just a wonderful escape. And I recently read the Shadow and Bone trilogy, and I was not stoked with where it went. I will not lie to you. Like I'm not surprised, but and it's a teen fantasy, so it's got to be okay. But oh, I was so unhappy about it. So if you guys ever want to hear me talk about books and those things, I'd love to talk about it with you. And my favorite character, so there's the Six of Crows trilogy as well, and then the um oh man, what's that duology called? It's like a king duology, and it's Nikolai. He's my favorite. I love him. He's so clever. He's so funny. And they create a duology on him, and he ends up with one of my least favorite characters. She has no redeeming qualities. I think by the end, like she does to an extent, and I'm probably gonna get smack for this because I haven't read the duology yet. But like it felt like in the third like book of the Shadow and Bone, like they were trying to make her likable because she needed to like the author needed to create another character to do this duology. And like I'm not anti it, and like I love her writing, so I will consume it eventually, but I'm gonna move on to the Six of Crows because otherwise I'm just gonna get upset. um, that's my take on Shadow and Bone and the Grisha verse. I'm pretty excited to start reading Six of Crows. But what I do have on the to do list, or the to read list is Wuthering Heights. I've read it when I was in middle school and once when I was in high school, and I love it, and I learn something new every single time. So I'm really excited to like rehash it out with my adult um, life and responsibilities. I think that's going to be really great, and I'm just excited to read that. And then I got some books for my birthday by Elizabeth Chandler that I read when I was in middle school. And I know it's gonna be bad, but I am so excited. Like I know it's gonna be Twilight level bad. Like I remember the plot, and so it is going. It's not gonna be good. So I'm super excited to dive into those two. And um, in case you can hear that, I do have two people in the room with me, but I wanted to be the main focus for today. So you guys will get to meet them later. So sorry, you guys will get to meet them later, but I wanted to just get familiar with this. I wanted you guys to get familiar with me, anybody who's listening. Keep it short and sweet. Um, And I would love to know if you have any questions. I'm going to be posting this on YouTube, on hopefully Spotify. I'm using Anchor, so I won't know everything. But you can follow my Instagram at This Is Commonplace and my, oh, something else. Oh, my TikTok. This is commonplace. And I do have a Twitter, but I cannot remember what it is. So the link will be in the description. And thank you so much for listening. Please tell me how I can improve in a constructive manner. I am a very sensitive soul, so if you tell me that I suck, I am going to cry, but I'll get over it. So thank you so much. Sorry for using so much, but that is to be expected with it being my first time recording. And have a great day. Goodbye.